the mistakes that can easily cause you to lose. I know a lot of Zerg players complain about the volatility of the matchup and how one mistake can basically make it a quick loss. So we'll see how these games progress, whether we can make it in the mid game.
Yeah, so it's going to be Warlock X versus Zog on MLG Dual Site, a recent addition to the MLG map pool. I don't think it's actually been played at a professional tournament yet here in the States, or at least not a broadcasted one, as we see Zog spawning as the yellow Zerg at the 9 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Warlock X obviously in the only other spawning location at the 3 o'clock position as the green Zerg. And as you mentioned, Matron, this is perhaps one of the most volatile matchups. Before, I would have said that prior to the Warpgate patch, I would have said Protoss was easily as volatile. But now it is definitely Zerg versus Zerg. We'll see if it's going to be a Zergling, Baneling, Roach, or if these players will be opening up into Mutalisk, as you said, as a lot of players have been transitioning.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure if Mutalisks are definitely something you want to mass up, but you can kind of use those to control at the start just a few Mutalisks, force some Spore Crawlers if your opponent is not comfortable dealing with them, and you can also use a quick switch. I think we've seen it. It was Idra against sure, the guy who keeps beating him in GSL and all the other tournaments, the Korean who I was watching a game where he did a quick switch from Roaches over to Mutas, and Idra had just one Infestor up, was able to, not able to land a good fungal, and basically lost the game really quickly to Mutas. But as you mentioned, Test Bug here, a map that we haven't really seen much. I think the first instance we'll see it will be MLG Anaheim, which is coming up in a few weeks, and I think you're going to that?
Yeah, I will be going to MLG Anaheim. I don't know how many days I will actually be there. Just to remove any confusion, this is, I believe, dual site and not test bug.
Oh, yeah, dual site. Sorry.
Yeah, so yeah, dual site here, we can see that it was a pool and an extractor, so we may be getting some metabolic boosted lings, or we may see a Baneling's Nest shortly after that spawning pool is done. Meanwhile, taking a look back in Zog's base, Zog, it looks as though he did he did extractor pool, I believe, and we'll see what's going to be happening.
Looks like we have an early evolution chamber coming from Warlock, so he might be going for an early +1 on either Lings or, well, probably not Roaches, so we'll see what he does with this evolution chamber right off the start. He has been banking a lot of gas. He will be able to start the +1 right now if he does want to do that, and that takes a little bit longer than speed. So if you get +1 right away and he's doing just that, then start speed as soon as you have another 100 gas, then pull off. You can be very effective with +1 Lings, and Lings can actually do a ton of damage against Roaches if they're upgraded like this. So Warlock will be able to handle Roaches if Zog goes for those, as we see Zog going for metabolic boost first, not really favoring a quick Roach opening. We'd also be interested to see how quickly both these players do place down an expansion here, as we see the Zog has pulled off of gas, and again, Warlock having to get an extra 100 gas for the metabolic boost.
Yeah, so this is going to be one of those moments where they're going to try to feel each other out. They're going to send some Zerglings at each other, poke around, try to just harass a little bit, and try to get a very small advantage. In a matchup like this, Zerg versus Zerg, it's all about a game of seconds or a game of very small advantages. If you're able to get a small advantage, you want to just translate that into an even larger advantage, as it is going to be Zergling after Zergling, but there's a larger number coming in from Warlock there, as the Zergling is now deciding to back off. We can see that the melee attack needs about another 70 seconds. Meanwhile, the metabolic boost needs another 70 seconds as well, while it looks like Zog will have that metabolic boost up a little bit more quickly, but unless he engages, he is not going to be able to press that advantage as much as he wants.
Yeah, it looks like Zog getting up his expansion just a little bit faster, and now we do see a bit of a Zergling encounter as Zog trying to take down a few of those Zerglings for Warlock, trying to pick off a few of those stragglers, and now we see the metabolic boost kicking in for Zog. As you mentioned, it's going to be a 30 seconds before Warlock's kicks in, so he's going to be able to get better concaves, but at this point, Warlock does have the defender's advantage. He's going to be able to stream out a lot more Lings, and we see a Baneling Nest about to finish for Zog, but Warlock has a nice place, well-positioned Overlord here. He's going to be able to see any Banelings that do start morphing in here for Zog.
Yeah, so we'll see what's going to be happening. The Banelings are morphing a little bit further away, and Warlock does not see them. He knows exactly the position where he needed to morph in those Banelings, and those Banelings only take 20 seconds to build. More Banelings still coming in once again, and if they simply run in, that can be a lot of damage to be had. Zog now coming in with that one Baneling, and it looks like a Zergling going to get taken down. The Zergling's now trying to run around that backside there, and the Zerglings may just simply run in straight into the bases. The Banelings are able to chase off the rest of the units. And Warlock X has to be very careful, and now he's going to go for a counter push, just completely ignoring the other army.
Yeah, it might be a bit of a base trade here, and I think that's a good move by Warlock. He's going to have the +1 lings, so he's going to tear apart the buildings a little bit faster for Zog. If Zog is able to get up some lings and banelings at home, as we see Warlock doing a ton of damage, taking down that first queen, now doing a lot of drone kills, and Zog really needs to get up a baneling or two down at home, and it looks like right now Zog pulling back to try to defend, pulling some of his drones to the midfield here after he was able to take down a ton of the drones of Warlock.
Yeah, this is going to be a very, very dangerous situation. Both players are very low on minerals. 1 drone versus 6 drones right now. So Zog having the economic advantage, but I don't know how that's going to stay around for very, very long, as the Banelings getting off a couple quick kills, and oh, nicely done. 22 Zerglings compared to 10 now. So we'll see what's going to be happening here, as what Warlock does have a little bit of an advantage, but those 3 Banelings may be enough, as the Banelings are just trying to get some damage on the creep. The Banelings need to perhaps separate just a little bit, and oh, able to run through right there, and that may have been a tipping point.
Yeah, 6 drones right now for Zog, just 1 drone for Warlock, but Warlock coming out, he's got 11 lings against the 8 lings of Zog, but Zog does have those 2 banelings. If even one of them can do significant damage, this one will be over. Warlock's losing a few drones there in the natural, probably a miss rally, and now what do we have on the way? More drones coming for Zog. Warlock, I think, is in major trouble.
Yeah, Warlock is in a bit of trouble. Those Banelings just have to be very, very careful. They're trying to engage. The Zerglings need to back off, as the Zerglings of Zog are only 0-0, not 1-0 upgrade, as the Zerglings now trying to do a run by, and it looks like they'll be able to get perhaps a couple quick drones. The Banelings perhaps should just stay close or into the mineral patch there, as the Banelings just running back and forth. 1 Baneling on one side each. The Zerglings continue to push back and forth, and oh, nicely done, sacrificing 1 Zergling for 1 Baneling. That was a very good trade for Warlock.
Yeah, Warlock's been able to get up to 2 drones here against the 6 of Zog, but right now Zog has 6 drones, 8 lings, and 1 baneling against just the 2 drones of Warlock. I think this one is definitely over. Warlock coming out with another drone now, so there's the GG from the Team Revoki player, and Zog able to even this one up. 2 games apiece here, so yeah, we're going to go on to a pivotal Game 5.
Yeah, that was probably exactly what we called it was going to be. It was going to be a very, very micro-intensive, very just easy tipping points. And I believe that 1 Baneling taking down, I believe, 6 to... I couldn't count the number of melting acid bodies, but I think it was anywhere from 5 to 7. And that was a very good trade by Zog, as Warlock had those upgraded 1-0 Zerglings early on.
Yeah, Zog made it into Warlock's base, saw that evolution chamber go down, and he reacted accordingly with the Baneling nest. Does obviously a ton of damage against lings, whether they're upgraded or not. So pretty nice reaction there by Zog, and so far so good for the new player in Wednesday Night StarCraft.